In a very short time, Solana has become one of the most valuable projects in the crypto space. Some are even calling it the Ethereum killer. So, Solana versus Ethereum. This is a crypto competition that many people have been watching from the sidelines and will most likely be one of the headlines of the upcoming crypto bull market. And that's why in this video I'm going to discuss how these two projects are in many ways very similar, but I'm also going to discuss how these projects are very different from each other. And I'm also going to share my perspective on which of these projects I think will succeed over the long term. So if you're holding ETH or SOL, or maybe both, then this is a video that you do not want to miss. And if you're excited about the upcoming crypto bull market and all of the money-making opportunities, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll begin, of course, by saying that I am not a financial advisor. Nothing in this video is financial advice. This video has created just for educational purposes, and I also need to disclose that I am personally holding both ETH and SOL in my investment portfolio. Now that that is out of the way, let's get started. To put all of this in context, we need to travel back in time. In the 1960s, the internet was invented. It started out as a military technology. By creating a network of connected computers, the Ministry of Defense and the Army could communicate much more quickly in the case of an attack by the Soviet Union. Later, the internet got adopted by a small group of academics and universities, which enabled them to collaborate and conduct research much faster. And it wasn't until the 1990s and the early 2000s that the internet became adopted by the masses. That's when we saw the rise of massive internet companies like Google and Amazon. The internet actually went through a few different phases in its evolution. We started with what we call Web 1. Web 1 is characterized for many static pages. There wasn't much interaction that you could do with a Web 1 website. So later, as technology evolved, we moved towards Web 2. So Web 2 is all about interactivity and user-generated content. One great example of a Web 2 company is Facebook, now known as Meta. The problem with Web 2 is that some of these companies just became too powerful. Think of Facebook, Amazon, Google. Even though you are contributing to the content or the products on their platform, they have the right to ban your account whenever they may wish, meaning that you will lose everything that you have worked so hard to build up. And they also have the right to censor, meaning that they make the rules of what content is allowed and what content isn't allowed. We've also seen many cases where these big Web 2 companies actually silenced small groups of people in order to advance their own agendas. And in addition, they also own all of the data. And there have been numerous scandals where these companies have been involved in selling the data of their users. And people just got fed up. Enter Web 3. Web 3 is all about decentralization, giving back the control and the power to the people instead of leaving it in the hands of a few very powerful and power-hungry Web 2 companies. And Web 3 is enabled by something we call the blockchain. The blockchain is a decentralized network that processes data and transactions. And both Ethereum and Solana are built on top of this concept of the blockchain. So let's discuss both of these in greater detail. As a little kid, I could sit for hours in my room playing with Lego. What I really liked about Lego was that with the same Lego set, you would have endless possibilities. The only limiting factor is your imagination. Why is this story relevant? Well, in 2015, Vitalik Buterin launched Ethereum. He basically looked at Bitcoin and he saw how Bitcoin offered a decentralized medium of exchange. And Vitalik asked himself the question, what else can we do with this blockchain technology? And that's when he came up with the concept of the smart contract. A smart contract is simply a contract on the blockchain where through a set of predetermined rules you can automate many different things. Smart contracts on Ethereum are literally like Lego blocks to build on top of the blockchain. While this may sound very simple, this concept was revolutionary. Because of this smart contract technology, a lot of the current traditional financial system could be completely disrupted. Many of the middlemen that play a crucial role in the current financial system could be cut out by making use of these smart contracts. Think of banks, lawyers, notaries, insurance companies. And because of this, Ethereum gained a lot of traction. And nowadays, a lot of the crypto and the blockchain space and all of the stuff happening in the Web3 space is all built on top of the Ethereum smart contract technology. In fact, Ethereum right now has the largest community of developers in the blockchain space. Most of the applications in the crypto space are deployed on top of Ethereum. We call them decentralized applications, or dApps in short. Ethereum even has its own programming language called Solidity, which has become the golden standard for programming in the blockchain space. And Ethereum has benefited a lot from being a pioneer in its field. But Ethereum also has some problems. It is known for having very long processing times and high transaction fees. But we've seen the emergence of layer 2 technologies which are building on top of Ethereum to make it better, faster and cheaper. So Ethereum is evolving to adapt and to become better. Thus, being a first mover mean that you're actually guaranteed to remain the most dominant player in a market over the long term. Well, if we look at MySpace was the first mover before it was overtaken by Facebook, and Facebook or Meta became the most dominant player in the market. Similarly, when Nokia gained a lot of traction, it was the first mover in the market, but also Nokia got overtaken by Apple and Android phones. And then finally, Yahoo was the biggest search engine, the first mover, before Google eventually overtook it and became the most dominant search engine. So no, being a first mover doesn't guarantee that you will remain the most dominant player in your field over the long term. And ETH is getting some serious competition from Solana. So let's have a look at Solana right now. To understand why Solana is a serious competitor to Ethereum, we need to understand the background of its founder, Anatoly Yakovenko. Anatoly worked for 13 years for the semiconductor company Qualcomm. While he was there, Anatoly wrote software that is running on hundreds of millions of phones. Anatoly wrote software that interfaced directly with the hardware of the machines. It was focused on squeezing the maximum performance out of the available memory and CPUs of the phones. And Anatoly and his team became really good at doing this in order to get the maximum efficiency out of these machines. From 2017 onwards, Anatoly started to shift his attention to the crypto and the blockchain space. That's when he started to work on Solana. He created a new consensus model called Proof of History, which is very similar to how Ethereum worked, but with one addition: timestamps. As a result of these timestamps, validators in the network had to spend less resources having to validate these transactions and data on the blockchain. Solana was able to increase its speed and efficiency. Right now, Solana is able to process 50,000 transactions per second. Just for comparison, Visa is able to process 1,700 transactions per second. And transactions on the Solana blockchain only cost a fraction of a penny. To achieve all of this, Anatoly had to develop his own programming language for Solana called Rust. And Solana has experienced an amazing growth, and it has a really great track record. It has attracted some of the smartest developers in the ecosystem, and it has even caused many applications or dApps to migrate from Ethereum to Solana. Nevertheless, Solana still has some serious issues. In the past few years, Solana saw a few major outages. And if you're running critical applications, you don't want to run them on top of an infrastructure that has the risk of going down every once in a while. So I'm pretty sure that Anatoly and his team are working very hard right now on solving these issues. Let's wrap it up. Ethereum is still the largest smart contract platform in the space. It has the largest developer community and most of the applications are still being built on top of Ethereum. Ethereum was the first mover, and because of this it was able to gain a lot of market share and solidify its position within the crypto space. But being a first mover doesn't necessarily guarantee your dominant space in the market in the future. Solana is quickly catching up, especially since it's faster and cheaper than Ethereum. But Ethereum is constantly evolving and adapting. We've seen that with the layer 2s, which are made to make Ethereum faster, better and cheaper. Nevertheless, it's going to be an interesting battle and I'm personally invested in both. Why? Because I believe that there is enough room for both of these smart contract platforms to exist and grow and to become dominant players in the space. So I'm definitely going to keep my eye on all of the developments around these two projects, and I will make sure to keep you guys posted too.